to you live from inside, outside, and all around our houses in this COVID-inspired lockdown. This is CalmDown with Molk and Bradon. Join us tonight as we have special guests, musical guests, video of the week, and who knows what else happens when we turn the satellite on. Please give a big hand to our house band, George and the Jetsons. Remember to calm down and welcome your hosts, Molk and Bradon.
He started in LEGOMasters this year on 9, and now he's here to build some metaphorical bridges with our hosts. When he's not crunching numbers, he's clutching blocks. Please welcome Trent Cucchiarelli.
Yay! Look at this, wow. Ladies and gentlemen.
What an intro.
Actual Trent. I'm so
G'day,
glad.
mate.
Yes,
G'day.
Trent. That's not the least of the things we should say. G'day and welcome, Trent.
Yep.
How are you doing? First of all, now that you're a big TV superstar.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, superstardom when you go on essentially a kids building show, you reach the stratosphere, and it's been tough. Being recognized in public by all the 10-year-olds out there. I think that I'm just getting swamped by people like, kids. It's wonderful. They're people super cool fans.
Can tackle you at the knees. Now, I do need to hold you to account there, Trent. This whole kids building show thing, I'm going to take offense to that if that's all you think it is, really, because we both know as collectors, we bond in that regard. The brick is a sacred thing.
Oh, it is. Very, very sacred. Funnily enough, we were actually visited by Thomas Kirk Christensen on set, the great grandson of Lego. It's all seriousness, as well as Jürgen, the CEO of Lego. So the sacred nature of the shoot was immense. Yes, incredible.
That's phenomenal. If people haven't caught up, Trent was on LEGOMasters. Oh, amazing. And he's coming to us live from his very own toy shop.
Now, earlier in this series, there was a bit of controversy about who came up with the concept first. Was it CalmDown when we launched Lego Legends, or was it Channel 9 and LEGOMasters? But we'll put that to bed. We won't go into that now.
Good.
And the questions, the questions are beginning to come through. And while that happens,
yes.
Well, we should ask my son's question first. But I've got a question before him.
Okay, you go first. Oh, well, that was great. Bradon was here. He will come back, so we will get both his question and his son's question. Fortunately for him, because he's now not here, I get to pull rank, Trent. And that's going to be a case of, so my daughter asked, what's your favourite minifig?
Oh, yes. Minifig wise, we go back to probably one of my favourite years of Lego, which is 1989.
Oh,
and
yes, please.
I couldn't go past Captain Redbeard. I think he's fantastic. He's got, the parrot and the cutlass and skull and crossbone hat. What an absolute brilliant figure. So, yeah, that's got to be one of my favourite years.
We sound like we're of the same ilk, which is great because it fits us right into the middle of, the kind of favourite sets and those sorts of things. We will get to that tonight, no question. Let's see if Bradon's still here. Bradon, are you with us? Hello.
Hello.
Where did you go?
You moved me out of the broadcast.
I did no such thing.
That's commercial bullying. What did I miss? Anything good?
No, I asked the first question, but you had a question. And you want to ask your son's question. Yeah, Captain Redbeard was his favourite. We saw it for real.
Oh, ripper. Behind you, a lot of your toys are still in original packaging. I collect these little pop vinyl things. They're probably 30 years ahead of your collection, but I take them out of the box. Where do you stand on boxing and unboxing?
Good
and
question.
Sort of thing?
It's a great question. Look, I think first and foremost, you've got to do what you want to do as a collector. So if you get the enjoyment out of opening them up, crack it open, throw that packaging away, get rid of it. For me, part of the enjoyment is the packaging, and particularly when you get to older toys that are 30 years old, there's something very nostalgic about that packaging because it's what we remember going into the toy shop, looking up on the wall and seeing it. But, for modern toys, I think there's less nostalgia. crack it open if you want to. Don't worry about the value. Do it for the love of the toys and for the enjoyment of the toys.
Preach, brother. I mean, I'm a member of a number of Lego groups that are full of adults. And whenever, the next favorite thing or whatever comes out, they talk about buying multiple copies of the set, one to open and play with and a couple to keep for investment. I'm thinking, man, I don't know how you work, but investment? Like, just pull the damn thing out and play with it. That's crazy talk. Now,
that's what they're for.
Yeah, absolutely. Do we want to ask Patrick's question?
Yeah, let's do that because
right.
It's the only way I got my wife to watch the show, to be honest.
Should have made it to the end.
So Patrick says, "Hi, Trent. How did you meet Josh?"
Oh, great question,
buddy. Great.
It is a very good question. Many people may not know the backstory to this, but we actually got paired up on LEGOMasters. So we applied. Well, I applied individually, and Josh applied with a partner, but his partner had to pull out, so they paired us up. And the first time we met was actually the Friday night before we flew out to Melbourne. On the Monday, he came around here. We just had a bit of a chat and hung out.
That's insane.
And it comes across. We get a lot of comments saying that's crazy because you come across as two people that get along really well and like you've been friends for a long time.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes, that was certainly great question, Patrick.
It's like Married at First Sight, but for LEGOMasters.
We had the double, the two reality shows in one, which is fantastic.
Yeah. It really, look, here's a great question from Nicole Mugford, an ex-South Australian herself. Do you pronounce it Lego
correctly?
Or Lego.
I'm a Lego man myself,
brother.
And that is
Come on,
and that's how it should be said. Let's be honest, but we do things a little bit differently here in South Australia. We're a little bit strange, so we create our own way to say certain words, and that's Lego is one of those words that we've chosen.
And look, good question, Nicole. Sally Yabsley Bell has a question. Did you get? I'm assuming on-set breaks is what she's saying. And how do the big builds work when you have 15, 16 hours to build?
Definitely get breaks. So it's like a work day. You break for lunch. They'll stop the clock. They'll get everyone to move away from the work and go have lunch in the green room.
Yes.
And they'll start the clock when you come back. And for a longer build, so anything more than maybe 10 hours, you would do it in multiple days. So if we think back to that shake plate challenge where we built the tower, that was all one day or one shot. And we filmed late that day to get that done. But the final build, for example, that's a 28-hour build.
Yes.
We had to do that over multiple days.
Jeepers. Look, I have so many questions, but we've got so many great questions coming in. Thank you, Trent. Thank you, Sally. This one, unfortunately, Trent, I apologize, isn't for you. This is for Braden. Mark Davis asks, Braden, is your haircut based on a Lego man? Great question, by the way, Mark. Thank you.
If I could have the opportunity to respond, and remembering that this is family hour, Mark.
Family time.
I will choose my words choicely. My looks have inspired many things.
This is going on already, yeah.
And I don't believe that any Lego minifigures are based on my looks. Yet. There's no Braden minifig, and it'd probably have to be one of Trent's mega figures, really. Like, I don't know if they get this head into like a minifig size. I think it'd have to be like a snot head sort of thing. Hey, see? I worked the jargon in.
Well done. That's very
seamless.
Braden, thank you. My son has a question. Because I'm a good dad, he doesn't have a Facebook account. He's texted me. Trent, this is what he said. What was your favorite build on the show? Brackets for Trent, obviously. That's unfair. I have a favorite build, but I want to hear what Trent's was.
Yeah.
Look, I love the anglerfish that Tim and Danny did. That was beautiful and incredibly built. It had mechanical fins that unfortunately one fell off right at the last minute, and that cost them. If that hadn't fallen off, they would have taken out that one for the win. So that was my favorite, and a lot of people loved that build as well.
Now,
what was the best one? What was your favorite that you and Josh did, though?
Yeah, ours was probably the bull and the cowboy. It was sort of our most complete bull. Yeah, the 3D art one that was popping out. It was our most complete build that we were sort of the happiest with finishing off. And it really, like, that came a long way out of the canvas. So it was an engineering feat. Josh used all clutch power to get that thing to hang on. And I reckon if he'd gone out like another couple of studs, that whole bull would have just tumbled off.
Mate, there were some phenomenal builds, and you guys clearly put a lot of thought into it and were able to communicate really well, given that you had, just been paired up at the top of the show. You've obviously got a lot of time and experience in building, as did Josh. It came together pretty well. I think, though, that my favourite moment of this season that you guys took part in was when I think we saw real Trent. And by real Trent, I mean not cool, I'm on TV, or hey, I'm playing with all of the Lego Trent, but Trent that lost his mind when the Stormtroopers walked in and that Star Wars build. That was phenomenal. It's so much joy, so much exuberance. How great was that day for you?
Oh, it was a fantastic day. There was a bit that didn't quite make the cut, which was they were asking me, how does the day compare other days of my life? I'm like, best day of my life. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Should mention my marriage. And then, oh, wait, birth of my 2 boys. Yeah, those ones were pretty good too. But
top five.
Yeah, definitely top 5. The funny thing about LEGOMasters was, obviously there's criteria and things you can and can't build. And one of the things we weren't allowed to build was really anything from a licensed property. Sure. And that was quite clear. So, if they go, today we're building a whole new world, you can't just build a Star Wars ship. That's not allowed. You're not actually able to do that.
Yeah.
So going into this show, I had no concept that there was this Star Wars build, even remotely a possibility. So when that actually was announced, I almost didn't believe it. I'm like, no, this is a joke. This is not really happening. Until those Stormtroopers walked on, and I realized this was real. And that was just that welling up of all that excitement. I couldn't contain it. And you just saw absolute fanboy Trent in all his nerdy glory.
And mate, I was right there with you. I wasn't on screen. It was so good. Loved it. We've got questions piling in, Bradon and Trent. I hope you can stick with us for this, Trent. We've got some great ones coming in. This is a great one from Daniel Gibb. Since Trent is such a collector, can you ask him how much a worn Jurassic Park t-shirt might be worth? Asking for a friend.
Yeah, look, Jurassic Park merchandise. If you've got original JP merchandise from 1993, I think it came out, that can be worth a little bit of money, particularly like the toys and a lot of the merchandising. The T-shirts, hey, if it's worn, maybe not as much value in there still, but to the right collector,
yes,
you could be on with a little bit of a gold mine there.
There you go, Daniel.
Trent, just to clarify, what if it's been worn by a pseudo celebrity?
Ooh. Yeah, look, that could just ratchet the price right up. I mean, we could be talking 3 figures. Yeah, 3 figures. I'm gonna put out there.
Yeah,
Correct.
3 very small figures with a decimal point in the front. That's pretty legit. Will Nicholas has a great question. Trent, did you use the Lego disconnection tool, that little orange thing that everyone goes, Chuck, or did you grow your fingernails?
I used my fingernails to remove Lego bricks. I just can't work that little orange tool. But the other thing we had in our toolkit was some pliers. And when my fingernails were all busted up and I couldn't get traction with them anymore, I used the pliers.
Is that what that little Lego box is on the table?
Correct. So there's 2 boxes in each corner. There's one that looks like a box made of Lego, and that's actually got a little desk camera in it. But on the other corner is a little series of trays, and they have the orange disconnector tool, pliers, a little hammer, and a few things like that, which, I didn't use them a lot, but the pliers did come in handy.
Through the looking glass here, people. That's amazing. Trent, thanks, Will.
In our friends, Paddy, we call that tool the breaker, the orange breaker. And were you ever tempted to do the teeth like that?
Well, that's a funny story. Josh was doing the teeth a fair bit in our first build.
Yeah, of course he
and
was.
Brickman caught him doing it. And there was steam coming out of Brickman's ears. It was like a no-go. So after that, it was like, okay, no teeth, Josh. Just keep it away from your mouth.
I'm going to hijack the question feed right now. I've got a good one for you. When you guys build, right, it's chaos. Sure, there's time pressure, and for some of them, even though it's hours, it does come down to the last 10, 15 minutes, and people are racing around. There's, bricks scattered all over the floor, all of that sort of stuff. Once you build these amazing things, please tell me they leave them built.
Yeah, look, I can tell you one thing for sure. Season 1, they kept very few builds. So but I think basically the only thing that survived season 1 was the Poseidon, potentially. I might not have that quite right.
Like the winning
The winning build was the only one, right? So they learnt from that, and they kept every winning build.
Yep.
And they in fact gave 3 of them away. They gave the Bull Rider away, they gave the Gingerbread House away, and the Night at the Museum from the Night and Day. A lucky woman in Perth won all 3 of those sets.
What?
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So by entering one of the Channel 9 competitions. I believe our farmer pulling out the carrot was like a favourite on, behind the scenes, sort of in the brick pit. And they kept that one until the very last moment. Yes. When I think it went back to the brick pit and got destroyed. So yeah, they I guess they have to use those pieces again, and they'll be needed for season 3 if they have a season 3.
So legit, there are producers, ostensibly, someone that has to come in and pull these things apart, and not just do that, resort the stuff.
There's a question from Luke about that. Let's get that up on the screen.
Oh, here we go.
Luke, you've got one job. You've got one job.
Forget everyone else right now. I'm engaged. Is there an intern that removes all the bricks after each build? Good question.
Yeah, Luke. And look, it wasn't just an intern; it was a team of people. And I understand they rotated as well. So it's sort of like everyone. I think if you think like there's a lot of people that work behind the scenes on this show, and you would hear people going, "Oh my goodness, I had to work in the sorting room after your tower build," and Jackson and Alex built that huge chunk of a tower that was brick on brick for like 8 hours straight.
Yeah.
You imagine trying to pull that apart. But Brickman did tell me if you get a rubber mallet and put that thing on the floor and just hit it, the pieces do come apart a little bit. So they had all their techniques of how to do this. But I tell you what, there's a special type of person out there that can sort those bricks back. I mean, there's 3 million bricks all up. You just imagine the variety of bricks. I couldn't do that job, I tell you that much.
On one hand, it's Valhalla, right? It's the most amazing place that you can go to because it's just Lego, everything, everywhere. And sorted Lego, right? So we can know where to go and get all of the bits. At the end of it, it's chaos because you guys have built these amazing things, and all of those things have got to get ripped down and put back in the right spot. It breaks my brain.
It boggles the mind. And we actually had Geordie. You would have remembered from the show. Geordie came in with the Flash Jordan brick and did an episode. And when he saw the brick pit after our build, he was like, wow, you guys are so messy. We treated this thing like a haven, and like everything was put back. We had boxes and things falling out. Like, funnily enough, in the final build, the pirate ship build, the grand finale, I was pulling out a tray, and like some of the drawers, you could just pull the whole thing out. Like they had no stopper. And there was like a drawer a little bit lower that was open. Someone had left it open. I've gone up, pulled out a tray. I've pulled it out. It's fallen. On its way down, it's taken out this other tray, and there's just Lego all over the floor. And there was just shots of me like sweeping it all up into a corner and basically just piling it, kind of like, hiding it under a corner. But there was just chaos. We destroyed that brick pit.
Oh, look, I can imagine. And Trent, look, mate, it's just us 3, right? It's just us blokes, just talking, just no one's listening.
Hang on, I'll check the viewer stats. Yeah, it is just us 3. Yep. Yeah.
We'll get them. They'll come eventually. Did maybe, a couple of, blocks or a minifig fall in your pocket that you just got home one night and went, didn't understand that was there?
What would happen? Yeah, actually, funnily enough, you would, you'd be getting bricks, and sometimes you'd actually just pop a few in your pocket to take them back to your table if your tray got full or something. But funny enough, when we all went back to the green room to get undressed and take our wardrobe off, you'd kind of go, I've got bricks in my pocket, and we'd get them out of our pocket and put them on the table in our green room. And eventually we'd like, I've got an extra couple of bits, and we'd build this crazy creation out of all the parts left over. But when we were done with that, it all went back to the brick pit. Nothing made it out of there, except if you're Hamish, and I think he smuggled out a number of very exclusive figures in that Star Wars ep. I heard from one of the guys that the Max Rebo disappeared. And he was saying, that thing goes for $100 on eBay. So yeah, I'm not pointing. I'm not accusing anyone of anything.
Not
but I'd be flabbergasted if it wasn't in Hamish's collection right now.
Yeah, no, I can promise you it won't be on eBay. It will be in his son's Lego collection for sure. My daughter has asked a number of questions, and if I don't ask another one of them, I'm going to get my butt kicked. What was it like seeing the brick pit for the first time?
Yeah, it was. It's an awe-inspiring feeling to see, and it goes way up to the ceiling. There's bricks everywhere, and it's just incredible, you know, because like we say, like sorting your Lego, like you never see a room, maybe with the exception of Brickman's studio or those sort of professional studios, but a room with so much Lego and so beautifully sorted, it's just, it's heaven.
Amazing. So good. We do have a question, Braden, that actually is to include all of us. So I thought, well, Trent, well, of course, we'll get your view first. Daniel asks, question for all three, what is your favorite Lego set of all time? Good question, Daniel.
Yeah, I have to go to 1989 for the Black Seas Barracuda, which was the big pirate ship that came out at the time, and it was just for its time. 1989, the first time we had faces other than like the two dots and the smiley face. We had, like, you know, like I said, with Redbeard, you know, like the eye patch and the beard and all those little details, which was so cool. So that for me was just my favorite of all time.
Totally legit. Braden, what's your favorite Lego set of all time?
Oh, of all time. Look, I'm not quite as deep into this as you guys.
Well, then we won't get your answer.
I know, right? 72154 is a favorite.
Which is?
That's a good set.
Yeah. No, look, at the moment it'd be. Look, I've rediscovered Lego with my kids. So possibly we've got the miniature Hogwarts Great Hall. So not the stupid one that costs a mortgage, but the big W version. We've got a lot of the big W version of Legos. And yeah, so probably that. And like, I remember when we unboxed it, my son, who cannot sit still for 3 seconds, sat for 6 hours in silence and built it by himself. So yeah, probably that. And it's now, you know, we've got a little Harry Potter shrine and it sits at top. So probably that one. Yeah. What about you, Molk?
Very reasonable. Oh, look, I was just going to comment on that smaller Harry Potter Great Hall, and the really smart thing they did, because the big one, which I've got just over there in a box ready to build, it is just that thing. You build that. But with the one that you've got, you can buy 3 or 4 other sets that connect into it, and it becomes this big Harry Potter kind of freeze or montage. Yeah. Phenomenal. Look, I should have been more prepared, because I could have done show and tell. But look, I think at the moment my favorite set is the Stranger Things set, which is the upside down and the real life built and connected together so that you can turn it upside down and see, you know, Will Byers with the Demogorgon in that kind of grade version, and flip it up and it's the normal colored version with his mom and the kid. It looks phenomenal. It's such a fun build, and it got my head really spun out how they built it, because if you unclip it, it's 2 separate houses joined by the poles that are the trees in different colors, top to bottom. And then the kind of these connector bits, weird, I've never seen them before this, that connect them so that it just holds together really tightly. It's amazing.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's not.
Well, sure. Thanks, Braden. Sally Yabsley Bell asked another question. By the way, Trent, thank you for dealing with all of this. We are just pounding you with questions. So many people have got questions.
Send your invoice. That's fine.
Yeah, please. Care of UCA Youth. Sally Yabsley Bell asks, was it uncomfortable to see Hamish in a websuit? Great question, Sally.
Yeah, look, Hamish loves getting dressed up, and I think he'd give any excuse to dress up. And look, he was far enough away that it wasn't that uncomfortable. But yeah, if that fish tank had been a little bit closer, we would have been at eye level with you know, a certain region of his body, and that would have been very, very uncomfortable.
Yeah, his knees are pretty ugly. That's not great. Look, there are more questions flying in. Here's a good one for you. Trent, how did you feel when one of the girls got sick as a part of that challenge?
Yeah, that was really quite sad and quite tough, particularly feeling for obviously Summer, who was unwell, but Iona, who had to kind of carry on and build on her own. That challenge, I struggled with that challenge, right? And I basically got Josh to build off the hanging brick while I build these cats and attach them onto his bird cage. That was a tough challenge, probably one of the worst to lose your partner on. We felt, you know, so horrible. We're obviously really worried about Summer, just making sure she was okay first and foremost. But for Iona to really like just be so stoic and just get through that build was wonderful to see. You know, those girls are 18, 19. Absolute like credit to the girls of that generation to have that sort of character and be able to get through a Lego build like that. We were so proud of both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. And great answer. Thank you so much, Trent. Braden, we nearly need to wrap this up. We've taken up so much of Trent's time.
We do need to wrap it up. And Trent's got some 1980s He-Man toys to wipe the dust off. Last question, Trent, and you might not be able to answer it, so just give us a little wink. Any truth to the rumors you're going to host LEGOMasters Kids?
No truth to that rumor at all. And in fact, working with kids and animals, they say in the showbiz world, really, really tough. And I think it would be a brave production crew to want to do a LEGOMasters Kids. But look, yeah, I would never say no to any opportunities presented to get in front of the camera, and more importantly, to play with some more Lego.
So that's a scoop. You heard it here first. Coming in 2021, Trent's going to host LEGOMasters Kids, and I know a certain 6-year-old who's gutting for it, mate. So if you need, when casting comes, give me a yell. We can line something up for sure.
We'll fix it up. Cool. Good to know, boys.
Right. Mate, Trent, thank you so much. I've had a bunch of fun. And mate, thank you. It was great to see someone like yourself genuinely enjoying themselves on TV as well. That shone through. And thank you for joining us here on CalmDown, mate, on our reunion show. What a way to kick it off. Ladies and gentlemen in the audience, Trent Cucchiarelli.
Big round of applause.
Did I get close?
You so much.
You got it beautifully. Thank you so much for having me, guys. Absolute pleasure to be on the show.
Thank you, mate.
Trent. Oh, I tell you what, how good is that guy? Let's bring
that
him back
guy.
here.
What a legend. Oh,
so good.
We didn't plug his podcast. We need to.
Oh,
Trent's got a podcast.
I think he's still here.
Is he still there?
Around. Trent, are you still with us?
I am still here. I'm still here. Oh, if I get time for a quick plug, we do a weekly podcast called Toy Power Podcast, free on all the podcast services. If you want to reconnect with your childhood and nerd out and talk toys, give it a listen. You might find a topic that's right for you.
Fabulous.
I'm glad we got that. That's fantastic. Thanks, mate. Cheers.
That, friends, is the cost of doing business. No, it was wonderful to have Trent on, and so great to hear about his podcast. I'm off to subscribe. I've got to tell you, that's right in my wheelhouse.
After the show. After the show.
Isn't this after the show now? Aren't we after the show?
Mate, we're just warming up.